Imagine working full time, juggling multiple jobs, and still not being able to afford a place to live. Picture a family, parents and their kids, being forced to live in a car right outside big companies like Google, Apple, who very clearly shape the future for all of us. This is not a movie tragic story. This has become more common reality for thousands of people who live in America's wealthiest cities. The harsh truth is that the harsh truth for economic growth is that while it benefits a lot of people, it also makes the gap between poor and rich even bigger. And we can clearly see this in California. California has one of the strongest economies in the world, but also they have one of the biggest problems, which is homelessness. Many people believe that homelessness comes because of mental illness, drug use, alcohol consumptions, and they even will say in California, people will become homeless because of the warm weather. They'll say that it's more comfortable living outside in the streets over there, so people are just lazy to work, so they just decide that they're going to live a comfortable life right outside. But according to Ned Rezinkoff in a 2023 report, which is called A Critical Analysis of American Homeless Crisis, he comes to a conclusion that this is not correct. While mental health and addiction will lead some people to become homeless, this is not the main cause why California has such a big problem with homelessness. For example, California has the same rate of mental illness issues as the national average, in contrast to homelessness, which they have a much higher average than the national average. And as Reznikoff points out in his article, New York faces a similar problem. So people deciding to live in the streets just because it's comfortable in California does not really apply here. So this is not a real reason also. He comes to a conclusion. The real reason why so many people are homeless in California is because of the high housing prices. This is also supported by Greg Colburn and Clayton Aldern book, which was released in 2022, and it's called Homelessness, It's a Housing Problem. After many research and they conclude that California main problem is housing prices. California has some zoning policies, especially in rich neighborhoods like San Diego. They do not allow you to build a house right next to your neighbor, but it has to be separated. It has to be a big house, beautiful, with front, backyard, which is only afforded by rich people. This makes the median rent go way high, and the median rent in California for all properties is $2,800, which is out of reach for many, many people. And we see the effects of these zoning policies in a Tessa Stewart's article, which is called Why California Can't Solve Its Housing Crisis, released in 2019. Tessa follows a Californian family. They lived their whole life in California, and the past year they've been working full time in their jobs, but they cannot afford a house, so they have to live in a van. The parents with two kids live in a van in a parking lot right outside of Google, and they have to sleep in turns because of the potential danger living in the street brings. There is hope though. Houston has shown how to face this issue by a new program they have implemented since 2011. It's called Housing First. We see this implementation in the article by Kriskoff and Fortune, which is called Houston Shows How to Tackle Homelessness, which was released in 2023. And they see that Houston homelessness rate has gone down by 60% since 2011, and they're still to this day using the same approach. This approach is getting a homeless person, putting them in a house, and then helping them with their mental illness, helping them with their alcohol or drug use, and helping them get a job and getting their life better. In contrast with other cities, also here in Massachusetts, Homeless people have to have a clean record, kind of. They have to leave drugs, they have to be mentally uh, capable, and then the government will help them putting them into a shelter. But it's much harder for a homeless person who lives in the streets, that is cold, that is hungry, to just leave these bad habits and to make his life better when they don't have food to eat and when they don't have a house to live in. Houston says that making this housing first program is actually cheaper than just leaving people on the street. Houston spends $20,000 per year on one person to get them sheltered, to get them uh, to get the help they need, and to get them into a work and make their life better. While just one trip to emergency room from homeless people who live in the street, who are known to be prone of illness, can very easily surpass this $20,000 mark set by Houston. Homeless people who go to a hospital or who have emergency, the bill has to be paid by the city or by the government. So it's clearly seen here that it's way cheaper just to make them, put them in a house and help them, than just to leave them on the street. Also, Houston has unified all organizations so they can be more coordinated and they can help everyone and not leave anyone behind. Homelessness is not just about addiction or mental illness. Homelessness, it's about taking the courage to see this problem and to let go of zoning policies, old zoning policies, and to have the courage to move forward into this new perspective. The solution is possible, and investing in housing first and into these supportive services can ensure that economic growth does not only affect the rich people but affects and benefits everyone.